Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of Beetle Dustino coming at you again today with yet another video and yet another unboxing, unshrinking, however we want to call it video. I like Beatley Tone coining that phrase on shrinking, so we're going to go with that. But anyways, today, not so Beatley. Yesterday we were Beatley. Today, we're going to be a little Bruce Springsteen. And we're not only going to do box set unboxing, we're also going to discuss a movie. How about that? Wow. All right, let's stay tuned for more of that after the intro. So yes, if you've been living under a rock, you probably aren't aware, but if you haven't been living under a rock, Bruce Springsteen's got a biopic coming out, and it all revolves around this, around Nebraska's 1982 album. So the album originally came out September 30th, 1982, and this is the new take on it called Nebraska 82 Expanded Edition, and I can't believe the deal I got on this. I really wanted it when I first saw it, but I'm like 87, I think it was $80, and I'm like, I don't know. Amazon had this down as low as $37.99, and I picked it up on that with the pre-order. I couldn't believe I got it for that, and I'm so excited because I've been excited for this movie. This movie has been just the ads for it and everything. I love the actors in it. I think the idea of the plot on it is really great because everybody always complains about biopics, so they cram too much into one movie, and this is just literally focusing on Bruce Springsteen working on this album and fighting to get this album to happen. And I've also been listening to the album now. I've been wanting to get into some Bruce Springsteen music, and I'm really appreciative of this. I know his hits, obviously we all know his hits, but I've never really got too deep into his albums. And I got thinking, just knowing kind of what this movie's about, I wanted to listen to the album before it. So I listened to The River, and then I was listening to Nebraska, and then I thought, well, I'll throw on Born in the USA after. But I've listened to Nebraska, I've heard a couple off of Born in the USA, and I went back to this once this got released on Friday. So, of course, this came out October 24th of 2025, this past Friday. And I got listening to this right away as soon as I could get it on streaming, because obviously I don't have my box open yet, and my car doesn't. I've been listening in my car, and my car doesn't have a CD player, unfortunately. But I've been listening to the streaming, so this is a rare one for me. I've been hearing some of the music already. I've listened to the first disc and almost all of the second disc so far. And the fourth disc, maybe not as important in this because it's just a remastered version of the original album, which I just heard. So anyways, wow, that was a lot that I just kind of spewed out there at y'all. So let's get this unshrinked, unboxed. I guess it is a box in a way. I'm going to pull out. I just got these, with everybody doing the guitar picks now, I got this really cool little set of Beatles guitar picks. So I'm going to just pick out a random one here. And I think that's how I'm going to do my unboxings, unshrinkings from here on out. Pick a random one out of here. So we got this Beatles Apple one is what I pulled out. I kind of saw what I was grabbing there, but it was the closest one to grab, so I grabbed it. So it's not like it was a total mystery. This looks like it's a booklet thing, and I've been having a hard time figuring out, based on the pictures on the websites and stuff with everything, kind of the shape of this. And it is a little larger than what I expected. I kind of was thinking it was just going to be like a digibook type thing, fit nice on the shelf here. Well, it won't fit on my shelf at all, on the DVD shelf maybe, but not the CD shelf. And I'll kind of hold it up. I got a copy of Abbey Road laying here, just to kind of give you an idea. Typical digi sleeve there. Kind of what you're looking at kind of size-wise with this. A little bit bigger, but I kind of like that. It's kind of a nice little, it's going to be a little tricky to find a nice home for it, but because it's a little too small for the bigger boxes, and it's definitely too big for your jewel cases and digi sleeves and stuff. But anyways, here it is, unshrinked, and oh geez,
whoa! Oh no! Oh geez!
I'm so excited to get this out. I didn't even really look at the hype sticker. Let's put the hype sticker kind of back on there so you can read it really good. And I'll read it off to you here. So Nebraska 82 Expanded Edition, 4 CDs plus a Blu-ray, features 15 unreleased songs, including tracks from the legendary Electric Nebraska sessions, which are fantastic. I've been really liking that. It sounded like Bruce wanted to, the boss wanted to scrap those, and even forgot that he even had them sitting in the archives there, and rediscovered them and rediscovered how good they sound. Holy crap, I've been really enjoying that live or Electric Nebraska disc. The order of these discs is really surprising to me, but anyways, let's get on with this here. So yeah, the Electric Nebraska sessions with the E Street Band, solo Nebraska outtakes, 2025 remaster of the original album. So we do got a nice remaster on here too. A new film of Bruce Springsteen performing all 10 songs, and then the live audio of the performance. So pretty cool on this. This is a pretty nice little box set. I don't know if it's quite worth $80, I gotta say, but at a little under 40, I think this is well worth it. I always say if you can get a set for about $10 a disc, I think you're doing a really good job. But there's the front, the spine, and the back. Kind of just telling you the disc, what you're getting in here. And I'm really curious to see what's all in here. So pretty cool. We open it up. Nebraska, the outtakes. Like I said, I think they really did this weird, because normally your remastered album would be disc 1, and it's actually disc 4, I guess. So yeah, interesting. But so there is that, and then we got Electric Nebraska next. So let's take a look kind of as we're going here. We'll take a look at the disc, and then we'll kind of look there. So there is the Nebraska outtakes, which is a lot of just solo stuff with him. Really enjoyed everything on that too. I could see revisiting. That's the thing so far on this. I can see revisiting all these discs. So we got Electric Nebraska here, which has been just fantastic. The Johnny 99 on here, just an awesome rockin' tune. So good, so good. We'll go just kind of through the book here quick as we're going here. I'm really excited about this. So a nice little book in it, obviously. Most of these sets are kind of like this, and I would still call this a digibook. It's just quite an odd-sized digibook. Let's see here. Little expanded view of the cover there. Let's see here. We got the lyrics in that. Yeah, it looks like the lyrics, I think. No, I think it's just him talking about it all here. I'm really excited to see the movie. So as I'm filming this, I haven't seen the movie, but as we go, I'm going to go see the movie. So I'm pretty excited to see this. And I haven't been this excited to see like a biopic in a while. I did go see Elvis in the theater. I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, stuff like that. I did go out to the theater, but I wasn't like anxious to go see it. I just went as a film lover too, a moviegoer. So this one though, I've been really anxious to see. I think Jeremy Allen White looks like he's going to be fantastic playing Bruce. I love the fact that he's been so involved with everything. Like I said in the intro there, or the beginning of the video, I think it's kind of a different take on a music biopic, where it's focusing on just one little section of their life and not like a whole career, especially with somebody like Bruce Springsteen that's had this massive career like he's had. So here we're getting to kind of the Blu-ray section, it looks like here. So the 5th disc, interesting that that's the next one up, but it comes in its own little sleeve in the little pocket there. I'm going to put the book down so we can take a look at this. There is the cover of this. So he filmed this at the Count Basie Theater in New Jersey. Where is that? Red Bank, New Jersey. Basically recreated the Nebraska album live currently. So there's the track list there and everything. And yeah, he just recently recorded and filmed it. It was 2025 it's credited to. So I guess we are getting to the end of 2025 here. I love all this on the old kind of Columbia label here. The red and yellow, probably more 80-ish Columbia. But that looks just really cool. You know me with old classic labels if you've been watching my channel long enough. But yeah, that's where the DVD, or the Blu-ray, I should say, fits in. And then we get to, Count Basie Theater, it says there. So this is the live audio version of that. So basically what we had on there, on the Blu-ray, the live CD now with the audio, and then the 2025 remaster of Nebraska. There we go. There's the disc label on that one. So like I said, really weird that that's disc 4. To me, most box sets kind of start the remastered album at the beginning, not the tail end. But I suppose they're really wanting to highlight what they've done here with unearthing the Electric Nebraska, kind of highlighting the session stuff that didn't make it, the kind of demos and stuff that didn't make it, and everything is good enough. It could have been on the album. That album is just, wow. I've been blown away by that album. Also on the Blu-ray, I got to mention, it's got a 2.0 uncompressed LPCM stereo. There we go. And then it's also got the 5.1 Dolby, True HD stereo, and then Dolby Atmos mix too on the Blu-ray. So quite a bit jammed onto the Blu-ray. I don't know if that's the whole album or just the live stuff on that. I got to double check that. Pretty nice little box. I'm glad I was able to find this at that good deal. I got to shout out TJR. He was the one that posted that on his social page on YouTube about that, and as soon as I saw that, I told him, hey, thanks, I'm heading out to grab me a copy right now. And he said, same here. So I think he's picking one up too. You know, I was kind of holding out to see if there was a good deal that would come up on this, and wow, even before it went on sale, we found a pretty good deal, over half off. So, but anyways, that is pretty much it for the box set. So the next big part of the news on this is, of course, going to be the film. I kind of wanted to do an unboxing, unshrinking of the box set, and then go watch the film and review it. So, as I'm filming this late Saturday night, I've had this since Friday night, but I just haven't had a chance to sit down and film it because I had to work today. Wow. But yes, I'm going to go off and catch a little Sunday matinee, and I'll see you Monday for the review. So, anyways, I'm going to go check out the film, and we'll be right back. Well, there we go. There's my ticket. I saw the film. Quite enjoyed it. It was a little slow paced, but I think they were doing that purposely because I think that was kind of Bruce's feeling at that time. They did kind of touch on that at the beginning. He was just coming off the big tour, and he was moving out just, out in the middle of nowhere, out kind of in the country, this old farmhouse. Him just kind of slowing his pace down, and I think they kind of purposely did that with the film. Yeah, I really liked it. Jeremy Allen White really got lost in that character. I did not see Jeremy Allen White at all. I didn't see the guy from The Bear. I didn't see the guy from Shameless. I saw Bruce Springsteen. So, I know they always are saying this is kind of Oscar bait, these type of movies, especially coming out this time of the year. And yeah, I think that is totally what is going on with Deliver Me From Nowhere. I think there is something to do with that, and I think Jeremy might get a nod here, a nomination. So, do I think the film overall is going to? I'm not sure. But I am a movie lover and a film lover, but I'm not like this big critic reviewer guy. So I don't know. And I always love watching all the Oscar nominated films whenever the list comes out. Me and my mom sit and watch it all because then we're going to watch the Oscars and, have a fun night. And for the past few years, we've decided, maybe if we're going to watch the Oscars every year, we should also watch the films that are up for them. So I think we were getting ahead of it on this one, knowing that more than likely this one was going to be. Plus, we both really wanted to see it. I think the ads for it, the advertising campaign on this has been just huge. So, like I said earlier, you're living under a rock if you haven't heard of this, because I mean it is everywhere right now. You do got to be a really big Springsteen fan to really get everything, and I do know his music. Like I said, I know his hits, but and I just know now from past couple of weeks listening to The River, Nebraska, some of Born in the USA. I haven't listened to all of it, but I do know all the big hits on it because there's some, almost enough on that you should know most of the album. But yeah, this is a brilliant album. It really is. And I saw parts in there really reminded me of the Got Back film. Not Got Back, I'm thinking of the Got Back tour, the Get Back film, the docu-series on Disney Plus with the Beatles, where you kind of saw, Let It Be being born. And specifically in there, you did see the song Get Back go from just, the first couple of chords into, oh, there it is. Now I see it. And I mean, you really got to see that with this too. You got to see Nebraska being born And by the way, spoiler alerts, I kind of forgot to say that before anything. I'm not giving away huge parts of the movie here, but yeah, it was really a great little, seeing that just kind of form and take place, and the little inspirations, the movie that he watched on, about that serial killer and stuff, and that being kind of, the Nebraska song kind of getting off of there, and then him kind of reflecting back to his life even, and what, the struggles with his dad and everything that he had. And one thing I just said to my parents as we were kind of discussing it upstairs before I came down to film this, they did not villainize his dad in this. It seemed like it might have been an easy way to go, to villainize the dad, but they did not. And it was that kind of time of the world where men couldn't, it wasn't manly to, to cry or to go see a therapist or anything like that. And they touched on that, and Bruce doing that in the 80s, and getting that out there. I mean, even today there's men that have a hard time with that, and I think that's more manly than holding it all in and, oh, I'm just the big tough guy. I think if you can cry and if you can let it out, I think that's truly being a man right there, not whatever people want to say on that. And I think that was really cool that they touched on that in there. I could see that. I saw a lot of my one grandfather in that, just knowing my dad's story with his dad. And I saw a lot of that in there. So I think there's a lot of people that probably their grandparents or their dad even, are probably going to see that too in this. So I'm really getting off pace here with the more of the overall thing than just the music thing. And I think there were two love stories going on there, because obviously Bruce with his lady friend that he met there, and getting to know her and her kid, and everything in there, and how direct those lyrics were, but also how direct those lyrics even affected him on that, where her baby daddy had straight up left her and abandoned the kid, and his dad was always there but emotionally wasn't. And I could see that in that. So that was really kind of a strong thing. Now, catching that in the lyrics on the one song on here. The other thing I really saw that really moved me in the film was there was that love story, but there was also a love story between Bruce and John Landau. And I thought that was really beautiful. And for that to get put across even today, obviously not a romantic love, but just a love for two people and a respect in that. And there was a great scene in there where John Landau and Bruce were in that room where he recorded Nebraska, and John Landau had put on a tape. I think it was a Sam Cooke track. At least it sounded like Sam Cooke to me. But they were just sitting there and listening to it, and just, Bruce put his arm around him, and John had his hand on Bruce's knee, and then they were, and there was nothing, romantic or anything about it, but you could see, they were close, and and I think that needs to be shown more with men's relations, that, we can be, it doesn't have to be this, with that, and I thought that was a really beautiful thing on that too. So there was kind of two love stories there. The other thing I really saw was the really big nod to the recording industry, from the executive on down to the guy cutting the vinyl, and how they had to work with it to figure out how to get that sound for Bruce, that he wanted to sound just like that cassette. But then when you're putting it through all the big studio stuff and everything, it's not going to sound the same. I mean, even from the initial recording on the cassette to where they started putting it through that old boom box that ended up in the lake, and somehow miraculously started to work again. And the echo machine that they put on it, and he said, once you put that echo on, it's on there. Then trying to recreate that sound off of that tape, and, through professional equipment, and not just this stuff in your bedroom. And yeah, that was quite a little thing there with, watching the engineers and the producers and the, everybody trying to figure that out. That was really kind of cool. A lot of cool cars in there too. I kept noticing that too, being the car guy. There were some cool cars in there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really good film. I don't know if it's going to be for everybody. I hate saying it that way. With how much they're advertising it, I think you do need to know a little on Bruce Springsteen's story, or at least have a good understanding of the recording industry and stuff like that, and be open to the fact that, there's relationships out there that, can be more than just this romantic thing and that. And I think that was a really beautiful thing that you saw in there. And not just John Lando and Bruce, there was also the guy that he was driving out to LA with. You could see how close the two of them were, really close friends. Him and the guy that came in, I believe his name was Mike. I know the guy was from Cobra Kai. The actor was in Cobra Kai is where I remember him from. The two, he was looking out for Bruce and Bruce was looking out for him. You could just see there was, so, I think that also speaks a lot, strong volumes for Bruce on just how just a normal everyday guy he is. And just, yeah, he is this big superstar now, but I suppose at that time he was just on that verge of that superstardom. He was definitely famous, but just on that verge of superstardom. And I hope I'm making sense on this. I don't do movie reviews. I have a hard time even doing album reviews. I like talking about the packaging and stuff. But I've never felt, I love it. I've always loved movies. I've always loved music. And so, getting to see something like this on a subject. And I know earlier I had said there hasn't been a lot of biopics done where it just focuses on this little window of time in their life, where it's always they're trying to cram, 20, 30 years into 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And I totally forgot about A Complete Unknown. Completely forgot about A Complete Unknown. There we go. That was my little line I was thinking in my head. Last year's big music biopic about Bob Dylan, with Timothy Chalamet and that playing that. And yeah, I think that it was a little more broad of a span than, about maybe year and a half that we saw Bruce's life in this, where in Bob's life, it was maybe about 5 years on that. But, so it was a little more broad, but it was still just a very fraction of the whole Bob Dylan story, where this is a very small fraction of the whole Bruce Springsteen story. So, but pretty cool. And I'm hoping when those Beatles biopics come out in a year or two, a couple of years now, isn't it? They turn out similar to A Complete Unknown or to Deliver Me From Nowhere. And, kind of in that limelight. I'm kind of hoping they focus on the post-Beatles and what happens with each individual after the breakup. That would be the story I'd more want to see than the actual Beatles stuff. We know so much on that. I don't know why we need to keep focusing on it. I'd like to see, Ringo dealing with Ringo after the breakup, and, Paul dealing with it all after the breakup and stuff like that. I think that's more, as a Beatles fan, a real Beatles fan, deep Beatles fan, I feel like that would be a more interesting story. And, just that immediate window right after it to where they become, what they did with their solo lives and stuff, and not, try to make some whole broad thing there. Even the 8, 9, 10 years that the Beatles were the Beatles, I think in 2-hour films, even though there's 4 of them, I think that would be too much crammed in there. So I'm hoping they kind of focus on just a small window like that. So yeah, overall, I really like the movie, but I can see there are people that are going to be confused by it, maybe have a hard time staying awake through it. I can see that. I was fascinated with it the whole way through because I was seeing all the little layers and everything. But I'm so fascinated with the recording industry too. So getting to see, the executives talking to the, the manager, to the, the engineers dealing with the manager and the artist I thought that was really cool. And, getting to see the relationships that we're making, and, other things that were making, a great album like this happen. So I really think they did a good job with it. If you can look at it through that lens, if you're just a very casual fan, or just maybe a film fan that's going to go see what could be an Oscar-worthy film, and not really know a lot about Bruce, you might, or even the recording industry, in that you might get a little lost maybe. But I think overall, I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of music fans are going to really enjoy it. So, but yeah, that would be it on that. And I do gotta say, Jeremy Strong as John Landau too was just great, and Scott Cooper did a really good job directing this and writing it out and everything, based off of the book that it came out a couple of years back and that. So overall, very happy with it. Overall, I'm really glad I'm digging into Nebraska here, and this box set is absolutely fantastic. The Electric Nebraska is, I could see the way Nebraska turned out. I could see why Bruce wanted it that way, but I still think the Electric Nebraska is really fun. So, and these outtakes were great too. And like I said, this whole box set really does come down to you always look at box sets like, you know, Power to the People that just came out, and like, oh, I might listen to this disc and this disc and this disc, but those other, you know, 7 disc in there, 8, you know, 6 disc or whatever, I might not listen to as much. I can really see listening to all 4 of these discs in this quite frequently. So I think they did a really good job on this box set. So, and plus you got the video of him, you know, the concert, well, the live recording of it. I guess there's no audience there, but that, you know, him playing that in the theater there is really kind of cool. Yeah, I think overall I'm really me finally dipping my toes into the whole Bruce Springsteen aspect of it here. I think this coming out and that film really is making me think I'm going to become quite a big Bruce Springsteen fan. So, and maybe that's another good thing too. Maybe I might not be the only one. I've always been a fan of him. I can't say that, you know, I just haven't really bought any of his music and really sat delving into his albums like I've wanted to. And now I've got a really good reason to. And maybe other people will see this film and, you know, maybe go pick up this box set too and really get doing the same thing. So that's really cool on that too. So anyways, overall, I think we got a pretty good box set and we've got a pretty good film out there, especially for music lovers. Let's put it that way. If you're just, maybe you don't know much on Bruce Springsteen, probably not going to be your favorite movie. But if you love music and are into music, I think you're going to get it and, you know, see that. And, or if you just like good, you know, seeing some different relationships and looked at it in a different way. I think there was a big strongness on that, and I really appreciated that too with the film. But that's my take on it all. So I got to stop this and get this all edited up for tomorrow because I see there's a few reviews out there, but not a lot. So I want to get a review out there, and I haven't seen too much, at least the CD box on this. I've seen a couple on the vinyl one, but not the CD one. So I want to get that out there too for that. So anyways, I'm going to get fully signing out. Before I do that, though, once again, I want to thank all my subscribers and thanks to any new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And do hit the notification bell so you know when I got new videos coming out. Also, please give the video a like if you liked it. And like I always say, if you stuck around to this point, you must like it. So please give it a like and do leave a comment. I love having a discussion with everybody. Let me know your thoughts on Nebraska 82. Have you picked this up or have you been enjoying this box set too? Or, you know, are you just a fan of the Nebraska album in general, you know, that you've known it for years, maybe haven't heard, you know, the new outtakes and the Electric Nebraska and the new live take on it that he did. But yeah, just let me know your thoughts on Nebraska and let me know, did you go see Deliver Me From Nowhere? And, you know, what were your thoughts on the film there too? So yeah, overall, I think we got a couple of things to talk about. So let me know in the comments there. And I'm going to get fully signing out. I am Beetle Dustino, signing out.